Caitlin Clark, emotionally upset after leaving game with another injury. WNBA star Caitlin Clark was upset after a recent game. Caitlin Clark was noticeably upset after exiting the court with yet another injury during the final minute of the Indiana Fever vs. Connecticut Sun game on July 15. The Fever won that game, 85-77. Clark has already been injured this season, so Tuesday's game marked only her fourth game back on the court. She was obviously excited to be back in the mix following a serious groin injury, but now it appears that Clark is injured again. Time will tell if it will cost her additional time on the court. During the game, after serving up Kelsey Mitchell with a bounce pass assist, Clark was seen holding the inside of her right leg and appearing to be in pain. Then she hit her head against the back stanchion of the basket to show just how frustrated she was at the possible new injury. Clark also appeared teary-eyed as she walked to the bench and put a towel over her head. It was difficult to watch. Following the game, Fever head coach Stephanie White was asked about Clark. She told reporters that Clark just felt a little something in her groin. She added during a press conference, "We'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there." While Clark's previous injury was on her left groin, Tuesday's injury appeared to be on her right side. Clark felt safer and the Sun was back in school. At the time, she was worse. But Tuesday during the season, the fever wait didn't last long, but faded as the Sun was well into the seventh. Before the game she is playing this season, Clark is averaging 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, 8.8 assists, and 1.6 steals per matchup. The Fever have notched 3 consecutive wins and are 12-10, but without Clark, they're 5-5. Their next game is against the New York Liberty on July 16. It has to be frustrating to be a star player in their prime, only to keep getting injured. Hopefully this injury won't be as serious as Clark's last, and that she can move on with her season. The buzz of Gainbridge Fieldhouse had dulled. What started as another high-energy Indiana Fever game was now veiled in concern and hushed uncertainty. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom, whose every move had electrified the WNBA, was no longer on the court. She sat on the bench, her eyes shielded by a towel, her hands clenched. Cameras tried not to intrude too deeply, but even in the periphery, the pain on her face was undeniable. Not just physical, but emotional. Another injury, another abrupt exit, and this time it felt heavier. Just minutes earlier, Caitlin had been pushing the ball up the court, weaving through defenders like a thread through fabric. The crowd roared as she crossed mid-court, eyes locked on the rim. But then, a stumble, a grimace, a collapse. She hadn't been touched. That made it worse. Medical staff rushed out. Clark winced as she was helped up, unable to put weight on her left leg. The entire arena stood still, as if breathing had become optional. Her teammates circled her protectively, and head coach Stephanie White's face turned stone cold, hiding the worry that clearly ran deep. They had been through so much already this season: momentum swings, media storms, heartbreaking losses, and glimmers of growth. Caitlin was the heart of it all, her energy, her fire, her unwavering will. Now, she sat there, jersey untucked, her signature ponytail unraveling slightly, watching as the game continued without her. Inside the locker room later, Caitlin tried to process it. The trainers moved efficiently but gently. She appreciated their professionalism, but not even their calm could pierce the swirl of thoughts that flooded her mind. Not again. Not when we were starting to find our rhythm. She could still hear the fans chanting her name, could still feel the adrenaline from her earlier three-pointer, one that had silenced critics and sent a surge through her team. She'd finally begun feeling like herself again, comfortable, confident, in control. Now, another setback. Coach White came in quietly. She didn't say much at first, just sat across from Caitlin, elbows on knees, sharing the silence. "It's okay to be angry," she finally said. "I'm not angry," Caitlin replied. I'm just tired." The honesty in her voice cracked something open in the room. Caitlin Clark, forever fierce, fearless, and driven, was, in this moment, vulnerable. And it didn't make her any less strong. It made her real. News of the injury spread quickly. Social media erupted with concern. Teammates posted messages of love and resilience. Former rivals like Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, and even Paige Buchers sent words of support. But none of it could ease the ache of what Caitlin was feeling. She wasn't just upset because of the injury itself. She was upset because basketball had always been her escape, her sanctuary, her stage. And right now, the curtain had closed too soon. Again. Later that night, in her apartment, Caitlin scrolled through old game footage. Not out of nostalgia, but to remind herself that she could overcome, that she had done it before. She stopped on a clip from Iowa. Her final college season, overtime, crowd wild. She nailed a three from the logo, spun around before it hit the net, arms raised, pure joy, tears filled her eyes, uninvited but persistent. She grabbed her phone and opened her notes app. Writing was her therapy when the court wasn't available. I'm more than my stats. I'm more than my highlight reels. I'm a fighter, and fighters don't fold, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. The Fever organization remained tight-lipped on the full diagnosis for a few days. The team wanted to ensure clarity before releasing statements. But Caitlin already knew this was going to take time. What she didn't expect was how the city of Indianapolis responded. A mural appeared outside the arena. Caitlin, arms raised, bathed in gold. Underneath, her story isn't over. Young girls started showing up to games holding handmade signs. For Caitlin, we believe. Comeback season incoming. And, perhaps most moving of all, Coach White approached her during a shoot-around she had attended on crutches just to support the team. I know this sucks, the coach said bluntly, but you're still leading us, even from the sideline. Caitlin looked out onto the court, where Erica Wheeler ran drills with the rookies. She saw Aaliyah Boston chatting with the younger players, keeping spirits high, and then she noticed something new. Her influence was still there. Maybe being off the floor didn't mean being out of the fight. So she leaned into her role differently. She studied film like a coach, sat in on strategy sessions, gave pointers to backups, lifting their confidence, and when game day arrived, she was there, dressed in street clothes, but with fire in her eyes. The Fever lost that night, but they played harder, with purpose, with grit. After the game, a reporter asked Coach White if Caitlin's presence had made a difference. She doesn't have to be playing to change the game, White said. And Caitlin, standing behind her in the tunnel, smiled, not because the pain was gone, but because she finally understood that she wasn't gone. Her journey wasn't just about points or minutes, it was about impact. And that would never be sidelined.